Are you trying to get your shift together?
Welcome to the Shift Sisters podcast, where real conversations inspire real transformations. We're not experts, but we're experiencers. I'm Sandra.
And I'm Jennifer Richter.
We're your Shift Sisters.
Whether you're shifting like a sloth or it looks like you're having an exorcism, this is your space to breathe, reflect, and remember. We're here to talk shift with you. Welcome back, my shifties. I'm your host, Jennifer Richter. Here is my soul sister co-host, Sandra.
Yeah.
We are here today to talk about the gifts of the shift because, God, shifts can be so messy. It does not even feel like there's always a gift in them. That's for sure. But we're going to dive into the fact that not all shifts feel like a breakthrough while you're in them, but eventually they reveal their gifts. Today, we're talking about the clarity, the confidence, and the soul alignment that emerges on the other side of this discomfort. So, what if your shift wasn't just a breakdown, but the bridge of becoming who you really are?
Nice.
And God, I have a lot to say about that. But I have a fun sip today.
What you got there, girl? What you got?
Oh my goodness. So this, first of all, I'm so proud of this little glass. See how it's kind of like marbleizer? I made it.
No, you didn't.
Don't look at the fact that it's crooked when it stands straight. But let me see here. Nope, I can't do it for you to see it. But I was going to say, you can see it's a little crooked, but
okay,
it's okay. It still holds my liquids just the same. But yeah, I did a glass blowing class.
Oh, how fun.
You know, like how you can get the Groupon deals or whatever. And it was so fun. So I started out, I'm actually going to make it in front of you guys. So I did a little bit of elderberry syrup at the bottom, right? Because it's immune boosting here. And then I squeezed a whole lemon in there. And elderberry is already, sweetened a little bit. But then I have brewed this tea, and it's got a combination of things. I didn't make it. I just opened up a little pack of, little tea things that people have given me. And it's Heavenly Blooms, and it's got rose hips, lemon balm, rose petals, lavender, elderberries, hibiscus, and I think that's it. And I did add a little bit of sweetness to it, but my soul sister got me this super cute, actually, she didn't get it from me. She got it from my daughter, but I'm using it. It's a really cool tea steeper.
Yes.
And so you can put it right on top of your cup of any kind. And I let this steep long enough to where it's not hot anymore because I want to make an iced beverage. And it just pours right into there.
Look at that. The magic. Yes. That's so cool.
It feels like wine on tap, actually, but
no one would know. No one would be the wiser. Just walk around with that.
Actually, that's true because, I don't ever think about what other people think of me.
Ever.
And so I'm thinking, oh yeah, I guess it could look like wine, but no one would be the wiser, but I wouldn't even care if they knew. Because I don't drink anymore. I used to be wild, and getting all crunk, but then I realized I'm wild enough on my own, and I don't need to come close to death all the time. Dear Lord.
No, and hangovers at my age is not fun. Number one, and it's not cute. So
I put some ice in there, and so basically it's that brewed tea with elderberry and lemon because I wanted it to be kind of like lemonade flavor. Let's see. Ooh, that's got a lot of good flavors.
Nice.
Fun fact, most everything I ever make in front of anybody, even all the cooking classes I used to do, even on holidays, birthdays, typically everything I'm making in front of everybody is the first time I'm having it or making it.
Well,
and I would say it in my cooking classes, but people thought I was just joking and being funny. And I'm like, oh, this is the first time I've ever made this. And they're all like, ah, ha, ha, ha. And I'm like, no, like.
Well, we will always know that you're giving a honest review, like a pure, honest review.
Man, I'm going to have to. Oh, I'm glad we're recording this because I want to make this again. This is really good.
Awesome.
And that little tea thing was just from something someone gave me.
Mhm.
as a gift, and so now I finally used it, but dang,
Telling
I
you,
can't wait to make this for you, or I'll send you the recipe and now you can make it.
well, these signature sips, I'm telling you, is just a wonderful way to like get creative, go into your pantry, see what you have, and just create mocktails. And you could do cocktails, you know.
Mhm, yeah, you could add some vodka to that and it tastes fine.
We're not judging, but it's just so delicious, and I'm glad that we're able to kind of play with
I
drinks.
just feel like it gives you something to celebrate the day.
Yes,
Like, who
yes.
cares? You don't have to have a birthday and all this other stuff. Freaking sometimes just getting up is a celebration, right? For some people, like if that's an accomplishment for you, freaking celebrate it.
Amen, sister.
Even if it's whiskey in your coffee. It's okay.
We don't judge.
Yeah. So let's talk about this gift of the shift, right? Do we have a weather forecast? Should I check in with you or should I just tell you what my weather forecast is today?
Why don't we do both of ours?
Okay.
I am after the storm. So, storm has passed and I'm feeling exhausted but clearer. I won't say 100% clear, but clearer. And also, I just feel hopeful. Like there's just the rain is gone, the clouds are parting, and now I can just move into kind of the next phase of what I need to do. So, um even though it's a storm and it's after the storm, I feel good.
That's good because you've actually been dealing with like literal storms.
My God, Texas storms. I
Texas
mean,
is no joke, and I've heard jokes about it. But after seeing it and now seeing what you're experiencing, I'm like, it's true.
yeah, it is a true thing. So, and weather affects me physically. So,
Hmm.
not only was I in an emotional storm this week, I was also in this physical space and it was a full moon and blah, 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 blah. And there was just all these energetic, like tornadoes around me, metaphorically and maybe even physically.
You need to get your red ruby slippers on, Dorothy. Dear Lord.
Christmas, girlfriend, you know what to get me.
That
But
is a storm.
yes, but I feel like there's just I'm heading towards a rainbow right now. I'm heading
I
towards
do feel you though, because I am recovering from last week still. And today is probably the first day that I felt like I could breathe and I
yes.
finally had a little space for me. But my shift forecast is windy and wild thoughts, which I'm sure most people are like, isn't that you every day?
Well,
But it means, your thoughts are moving faster than you are. And, I am a fast mover and shaker, I'm a fast shifter. But sometimes it's hard for me to keep up with myself. And even some days I wish I could get a break from myself, but I haven't figured that one out yet.
yes, yes, exactly.
Oh my goodness. Well, let's get into the talk, right? Let's talk shift or do you need to breathe? I feel like I need to breathe.
Do it. Let's do it. I'm down for it. Oh,
Because I am so wild and windy. I'm winding myself because I'm so excited and just going so fast. And ooh, I'll put some lavender essential oil on too. Maybe that'll calm me down.
that's a great idea.
All right. Calm the freak down, Jennifer.
I need to bring some candles to our calls and like all the supports. So
Whatever you need, girl.
yes,
Just
yes.
don't catch the house on fire.
Thank you.
Safety tip. All right. Well, let's talk shift. I am all down about the gifts of the shift. And you even talked about something in another talk of ours, talking about the gifts of grief, which I'm
Mhm.
like, dang, I want to dig into that too. We talked about different things of like, you had a shift with your father passing and becoming this new person that wasn't a people pleaser anymore and finding your own truth and standing in that and navigating that. And it's hard sometimes when you talk about the gifts of the shift because, or at least for me, I have so many shifts on a daily basis, the tiny quiet ones and the big loud rumbling ones. I'm like, well, geez, which shift and gift do we talk about? Right? Because just moving back here in
Mhm.
this property and things within our own marriage and stuff like that were earth shattering type shifts. And there's enormous gifts that I could talk about there, but still just referring back to what we've chatted about in the first couple episodes, embracing letting other people help for me, right? So, what clarity, I guess, returned once you've moved through the hard part of the shift? What kind of clarity did you get with those earlier shifts?
That I am stronger than what I think,
Mm.
and I am able to navigate those bigger shifts. Like I always would question myself of, am I ever going to get to the other side of it? And there's no other solution. You have to. You have to. And I think that the clarity that it gave me is even the hard things are are doable, and I have everything within to shift with it and to move on. And I think I now embrace shifts as opposed to resisting them. And I'm doing that because of how I came out the other side in my earlier ones. So I think it's just shown me my strength, my resilience, and my ability to handle any shift that comes. I might break down, excuse me, I might break down and I might not be happy about it, but I also do not feel like I can't handle a shift, if that makes sense.
Well, it's even like when we, you know, are going to share in the new year with the bound to shift, like we're tested on our weaknesses, not our strengths,
Amen.
right?
Yes.
And I've learned that through the shifts, they're our curriculum of life, of Earth School, right? Like that's our curriculum. We're learning through it. We're not meant to master it. That's why we say we're not experts. We're just experiencers. Like, and all we can do is share our story or the wisdom that we developed or the gifts of our shifts with others and hope that there's some small bit that helps them get through those hard shifts and hopefully they'll get a lot of resources along the way. What part of you though feels more like complete now that you're in the gift of the shift?
So what feels more complete is that I can start to recognize what I need.
Mm.
And we talked about this in the Bound to Shift 13 Clan Mothers chat. But I know that rest is a big part of my preparing and recovering from a shift. So when I start feeling that like something is starting to move and there is something on the horizon, in addition to sitting with it, I also just want to rest to prepare for it. So that internal listening, that sacred listening, that understanding that I need supports, and also knowing that when I ask for help from a friend, I am not burdening them. And as a friend, I would want the same anyway. So I think that I'm being more mindful of what I need and also expressing my needs, which has fulfilled me greater than people pleasing has ever done in my past.
I think my people pleasing was masked with, and it looked like I knew exactly what I want and that I was going after I wanted. And in some way, I was navigating what I wanted, right? Because I didn't know what I wanted. I didn't know what the world had to offer. And so I would explore that through experiences of other people, which definitely ended up being people pleasing in a way of like solving all of their problems, right? Like I would help develop a lot of people's businesses because I could see their potential and their business that they couldn't see. And so I would like dive into making it a success for them. But I ended up being more invested than they did. Right, and I had to learn, like, am I doing this for me or why am I doing things in that manner? And then I realized it wasn't for their approval, right? Because I wanted to definitely help other people be successful, but I wanted them to see their potential.
Yes, yes.
And I was doing it for them though, instead of empowering them or enlightening them, I'm enabling them in a sense. And then it's not sustainable. And I made a ton of mistakes enabling people.
Well, what a beautiful thing to see the potential in others, because and to invest in that potential.
Yeah.
People don't do that. People don't stop and
True.
say, "Hey, I see all this potential. Let me help you do
Mhm.
this." And obviously, they have to put that effort into it. It's their, it's their potential, it's their project. But
True.
it is something to highlight that that is a one of your strengths that you could see that in others.
Yeah, something that might have been, and that's another weird thing that I learned through all of these shifts and things about myself is that if you look at what you think is a weakness of yours, it's crazy that there's actually a strength there, but you're not seeing it at the time, right? And that's one of those examples. Did your shifts, your earlier shifts, give you something you didn't even know you were missing?
Putting myself first. Um, I didn't realize I needed that.
How selfish.
W Tell me about it.
You're so selfish putting yourself first.
Can I just tell you, putting myself first makes me such a better wife, friend, daughter, all the things, because now I am fully myself or, fully in that space. And I think we have to let go of that narrative of being selfish and really embrace the idea of giving yourself what you need. And it's not anything extra or you're spoiled or any of that. You're giving yourself the vital elements that you need in order to survive and thrive.
What are
Because
some of the things you do to put yourself first?
so right now I say no. So there are lots of times where I'm just like, I just can't and I won't because that core, that inner magma in me is saying, doesn't work, you shouldn't do it. Number 2 is just knowing when I'm tired. And I think that is something I've ignored and ignored where I had to push through certain deadlines. I had to push through, doing something that I didn't want to do. And I just have to stop. And I just want to go back to the saying no. My mother has always taught me as a child, I don't care what you're doing. She always used to say to me, I don't care what you're doing. If it screams inside of you no, whatever it is, you have to listen to that and never do it. And her theory is you don't know what's outside of your door. You don't know what can happen to you because you're not listening to that message. So that teaching comes back to me, right? When she said that to me. And I have to say for she was incredibly responsible and made sure that we did all the things that we needed to do and go to school and all those great things. But if I said that I really didn't feel something, she would back me up 1,000%. So I always kind of call upon that mother wisdom with that and say no. And also, I think it's providing myself the things that energize and recharge my spirit.
Mm.
So I've been in this playful junk journaling era of my life, right? So you take things in your everyday life, wrappers or, papers or things that you find, when you go to a restaurant, postcards, and you make these fun spreads. And it reminds me of like my 6-year-old self with the stickers and the drawing and things like that. And it just sparks joy for me. So I try to give myself the things that my 6-year-old self want. I give myself rest. I say no. And I also just listen to that inner wisdom when something is saying red light, don't do it. So those are some of the things that I've done to prioritize myself.
I love that. I definitely am right there with you as far as like I'm not going to say I put myself first, but I definitely started putting myself up higher on the priority list. And one of those things that I started doing that I absolutely have never done is take a break. And
Yes.
what I mean by that is 10 to 15 minutes. And I might only do it once, maybe twice a day, but I am on the go all the time. People in my life all the time are like, I don't know how you do it. You exhaust me just talking about what you've done. And like what I do in one day sometimes is what someone completes in a month. And that's just at the speed and that I work. That's my desire, whatever. But I would go as fast as I could because I knew once I stopped, I'm crashing for the
Yeah.
day and I'm done. And I don't know what it was. What was it? I think there was something about me thinking about those smokers. Whenever you work somewhere, they're like, by law, I got to
It's
get my 15-minute smoke break. I'm required to have it. And I remember in all the environments that I worked at where there were people like that, and I thought, well, geez, I don't smoke and I don't need a break. So if you smoke, you have to get a break. I don't understand. And the managers would say, by law, you're welcome to take that break as well too. And I'm like, no, I don't want to go stand outside with smokers. That's weird, because that's all I thought is the way this thing worked. And then it hit me one day, probably when I was in the garden, and all the wisdom comes to me when I'm either in the garden or working in the barn or doing something. And it said, Jennifer, you can take your 15-minute smoke break.
yeah.
And I'm like, what? I don't smoke. And I was like, oh, okay, I get what you're saying. Just the break, the concept. And so I would not schedule it because I don't really follow a schedule. I'm wild and windy, remember? So I just kind of do whatever calls to my heart through the day. And I would start to feel that exhaustion or the overstimulation or the inflammation in my body. And then as soon as I started to feel that, I would go, oh, it's time for that break. And so I would look around at what I'm doing and see if everything's in a good pause point, if I'm cooking or whatever it is, and get everything to a breaking point. And then I would say to everybody in my home, right, so that I don't get interrupted with all of them coming to look for me because all of a sudden mom disappeared. I'd say, hey, I'm going to go sit by the lake, or I'm going to go sit by the pool, or I'm going to go take a walk from a 15-minute break. I'll be back. And then that way I also didn't have any interruptions. If there was an emergency, everybody knew how to find me. And I would just genuinely break. No technology. I'm not calling people. I'm just being in whatever space I want to be at. If I want to go take a bath for 15 minutes or sit on the toilet and just look at the nail polish on the wall because it's so pretty, like
Yes.
all
Yeah.
the weird things that I set up in my house, I've learned that they're my mini sanctuaries. So make special spaces for yourself to have 15-minute breaks. And I started incorporating that with Adam this week, right? Because he's super overworked, right? We're similar energy levels in that aspect. And he's very much a scheduled routine, follow the calendar guy. And I said, just put it in whenever you have a spot. It doesn't have to be the same time every day, but I encourage you to go take a break. And already in 1 week, he's like, wow, it catapults my energy and my stamina and my focus, and I feel grounded. Even if I'm going into another meeting, I've had that transition to be able to come in fresh. And so I know it sounds silly, but a 10 or 15-minute break, 1 to 2 in a day, can change your life.
Oh my goodness, yes. And yesterday, or it was one day this week, I was just having a moment, and I you know how people say like they can nap for like 10 minutes? Like I don't
For me, I'm committed when I take a nap. I don't give myself a limit.
Yes, and I'm just like, "Wait, you napped for like 12 minutes? Like how is that even possible?" Because it'll end up like 3 hours for me.
I know, I'm like, "That's a snooze button."
Yes. So I've been there's a couple of apps that I use, but I started to do these sound bowl meditations for 10 minutes. And I have to
Mm.
tell you, when you're in the middle of your workday and you are totally fried or you're overstimulated or whatever it is, and when you center for 10 minutes in all that overstimulation, you feel like you slept like 3 hours. And when I emerge from it, because I'm not thinking about anything, I'm not problem solving, my brain and my body are not working, and it just feels like a nice cold drink on a hot day. Like you just feel refreshed. And I started to do that, and especially on days like this week where I told you like the weather outside was terrible and it was affecting me physically and all of that. So I pull that out sometimes to help me through my day. So it's similar. It's a break, and it's not a long break, but it's something to help get me back to an energetic space that's not going to burn me out.
And it's so true, and I laugh because I joke and I'm like, "Oh, let's go sit on the toilet and look at my nail polish on the wall," which people wouldn't understand that unless they seen the picture. If you think about that same concept with what you said, for people that work in like a big office building, or
Yes.
maybe they can't leave the building, everybody has headphones. I don't care what kind they are. Everybody has a pair of headphones. You could go sit in your office bathroom, right, in a stall because it's privacy. No one's going to bother you. You can put on your headphones and turn on sound bowls and a timer for 10 minutes, and you can still get that break, or in your car or wherever. But that's a great idea. I like that.
Absolutely,
Well,
absolutely.
we learn to say no, knowing when you're tired, right? Or starting to feel in your body when you need a break, that 15-minute break, and then energizing activities. I'd have to add, though, to that is giving yourself a little bit of time, maybe like for me, 5 or 10 minutes to make a decision because
Mm.
I'm a quick decision maker. And if there's an event that's coming up, of course, I instantly want to do everything. But then there's a lot of things that can change, even how I feel just for the day, right? Or life circumstances and things like that. And then if I've already committed, then I'm really obligated. So I don't necessarily say no when there's an event. I might say to the host or whatnot, is it okay if I'm a maybe? Because I have some other things going on and I'm not sure how the day is going to work out. Can I let you know last minute? And so for me, that's worked out well. But I feel like I want to host and do all of these things because I have all these grand ideas that I want to see come to life, just like I used to do with those other people's businesses, right? I wanted to see their potential come to life. But then I also realized it's not necessarily energizing.
Yes.
It's the creative process that's energizing for me. But hosting and doing all of it isn't energizing. And so now I've given myself 5 to 10 minutes to sit with the actual choice. And I work through all these scenarios, and my body is able to tell me, yeah, this is a great idea and that's fun, but this is how you really feel about it. And then I can make a wiser decision on how I can participate or share an idea or approach it. And that has helped me a ton when before I would just overload myself with trying to do everything and depleted at the end of the day, and no one's seen me when I'm dead at home and I'm not participating with my family the way I want to and I'm not showing up the way I need to, but publicly I'm showing up for everybody else and I don't want to do that.
Yes.
So that's a big gift of my shift, is to have learned that.
Wow. To take that moment of pause and to really just evaluate, because I get it. Like, I'm also, quick decision maker, thinker, all of that. And there are times where I'm like, I wish the person that said yes to this back then could be in my space right now. Like, I'm not the same person when I said yes a week ago or 2 weeks
Yes.
ago. And today I'm someone totally different. So giving yourself that gift of time.
Uh-huh.
And it's all self-imposed. No one is giving you a deadline, right? It's like you're the one that's, going as quick as you are. And that is a beautiful gift that I feel like we need to highlight for sure.
Well, I definitely feel like, that's one of the ways that you and I were showing up differently now because of that shift. Are there emotional or spiritual ways that you think that you show up differently now because of those shifts?
So I think that emotionally, I feel more mature in my reactions because they're not reactions anymore. They're more thoughtful kind of responses. And I think I am also clearing the clutter of emotions. So instead of misinterpreting something or looking into something too much, I'm really taking a step back and looking at it objectively, right? I'm not in that overthinking place. So I think I am, I welcome my true emotions and I welcome those true feelings, but I've been more discerning of those quick, trigger emotions of jealousy or panic or fear and all of those different things that can mask the true emotion that's trying to come out. So it's almost in line with what you were saying about taking that moment to really sit down, close my eyes and saying, what is coming up? Is it truly fear, or is it that I am afraid of rejection? So it's taking that time as well to see what the emotion really is, and
Let's call them shift breaks,
shift breaks. Yes.
right?
Yes.
Take your 5-minute shift break to do what you did. You explored your emotions.
Mhm. Yes. And I don't want to be driven by the here and now, like that quick, okay, this is how I'm feeling, so that's what I'm doing. Because in 5 minutes, in 1 week, in a month, I might feel differently.
Yeah, your decision shouldn't feel like a high pressure sales
For
or
sure.
sale, yeah.
Like I am in a space right now where I'm determining, big decisions in my life. And I just want to take the time to stop and say, am I nervous about something, or is it I really am afraid of the truth? And
Mhm.
that's the thing. The truth can be scary. So
Very scary.
am I accepting it, or am I just masking it as I don't want to do something because I don't like it? Well, it's not that you don't like it, it's just that you're afraid of what's to come.
I feel like I emotionally have the gift of the shift emotions is that I don't have as many outbursts, right? Kind of like the reactions like you were talking about, but mine would show up in outbursts because I'm overstimulated, overloaded. I don't even have enough space to think about things. And so I don't have the outbursts like that in the sense, but I'm also able to help my loved ones around me work through their emotions of their own shifts when before I'm so deep in my own quicksand that I can't even, help someone else through theirs. The most important people to me through theirs. So that's definitely one. Um, was there an old, well, we kind of talked about that a little bit. I was going to say, was there an old belief that you left behind in that shift? But I think you really touched base on that people pleasing more than anything.
Mhm.
Mm, thinking, I love songs. You talked about the Eye of the Tiger and different things um, when we were talking about some other stuff. But if you had to put a song title
Mhm.
to who you are now after that shift, what would it be?
Me, Myself, and I. What's that song? It was Me, Myself, and I by, oh my gosh, I can't. There is a song already out there called Me, Myself, and I think it is De La Soul. It's from
I
like the
think I know what you're talking
90s.
about. I know the song. I don't know who sings it, but I know what you're talking about.
I will definitely put it somewhere so that we can reference it. But that to me, and it goes, it's about me, myself, and I, and it's like this funky, and it's a fun song, and it brings in elements of fun, and it's talking about he's on his own and doing his own thing, and really loving it, right? And I
Huh?
feel like I'm in that's my era of my life right now, where I just want to get to know me better, and also give me the gifts,
Yeah,
right? Like, you
not just
like this?
everybody else.
Yes. You like this? Let's do this. You like this color? Wear that. You feel good, and I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying it. So that's kind of the song, the soundtrack of my current era at this time.
I love it. Mine was the one that I sent you the other morning, right? Like, it's gonna be a good day.
Yes. Yes.
And it's not that I wasn't having good days, but I was creating good days for other people and I was leaving myself out of it. And, now I get up, and it's going to be a good day. And so it's like checking in with myself, like, how do I feel? What feels good on my body? What do I want to wear today? And not just like, where am I going or who's going to see me? It's what do I want to wear? What feels good on me? And it kind of goes back to, like you said, putting yourself first
Hmm.
and thinking about how you can show up feeling good. And so, yeah, who was it that sang that song? Oh Lord, I'm gonna have to take a peek. It's a good one.
It is a good one. Let me see.
Gonna be a good day. Good Lord knows we're not doing karaoke around here. We're doing a little karaoke. Nappy roots. Yeah, nappy roots, which is good because I had some nappy hair today. I was like, yeah, that's relevant.
Seriously.
What is, let's see here, even the hardest shifts, how did they bond you closer to your partner? I know we're not talking love and all this other stuff, but I say your partner because um it's the person that's closest to you, right? Like, and I feel like even the older shifts before they even came along, there's got to be something about it that bonds you closer to your partner because of it.
Absolutely. I, now that I am more honest and more self-prioritizing, I am more honest with him, with my partner Michael. So I share with him, I really need this right now. And prior to that, I would just kind of do whatever whatever the routine was or whatever was expected because for whatever reason. And now it's I really need this. It's not a reflection on you or us or anything, but it just will make me feel better or it'll help me through this time. And the best way that you can support me is by doing this. And it eliminates all of the overthinking or the imagination of like, oh, am I being rejected or something is going on or why is she distancing herself? I just need this. So if it's my break, my shift break, or if it's something else that I feel like that sacred rest where I just need to be alone and just resting, I am doing that to be a better wife and to be a better daughter and to be a better leader and all the things that I do. So I think that I am more communicative and honest with him through the things that I need, which has helped him support me as a wonderful husband. And also just it's like a cycle. He's feeding me and I'm giving that back to him.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. I could see this, people pleasing young teenager Sandra that would dress the way she thought everybody else was doing because that was the style, or listen to the music that everybody else was listening to. And then you finally discovered what you really like, right? And then you developed not only the confidence in that, and then you developed the communication in that, and it's showing up in your relationship, which is amazing. And just by that, probably teaches him how to take care of himself a little bit more too. So, yes, I agree with that for sure. Even Adam, will say, like, it's so, like, brings me so much joy to see you now taking your shift breaks, or to see you not refusing to, but like not signing up to host as much, because I know that you love the idea in your heart, but see on the back end what it does to you. And so he's like, I like to see you invest in you now instead of other people's business and other people's ideas and things like that. So, that's how it kind of shows up a little bit in our life, because then he sees too to be a little bit more empowering and less enabling. So, well, there's so many gifts of the shifts, like I feel like the whole thing with my mother, um, and the not knowing if I was loved and not feeling like I really needed anything from them for a while was a detriment to me with my daughter, not with my boys, right? Because it's different. Um, I felt like it made me scared to have a daughter, right? What does that relationship look like? Because I didn't have a healthy mom-daughter relationship growing up. And I think one of the things that was the biggest mind opener for me was when I was seeing a therapist, and I said, I am scared shitless to have a daughter. I'm a boy mom. I don't know what to do with girls and da 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 da. Which, now saying it in retrospect, is the same thing my mother used to pound into my head, saying that my dad would say. I never heard my dad say it himself. It was one of those manipulation things that my mother used to say, and she would say, "Oh, your dad just doesn't know what to do with a girl. That's why he doesn't come around and try to raise you. He only knows what to do with a boy. That's why he only, you know, like, spends time with your brother, his son, or whatever,"
Yeah.
which again is all just deeper level stuff. But I realized with this therapist, she said, "Hey, just curious, what are you?" And I was like, "Fuck." Oh, shoot. I
Mhm.
should not say that out loud, but I was like, "Oh my goodness, I am a girl. I guess I do know what a girl needs."
Yes.
Going back to that listening woman from, the 13 clan mothers and things like that, when you have to think like, what do I need? What did I need? What did little Jennifer need during that time?
Yes.
Right? And that was the first time I think I've heard people talk about, especially in therapy or different places, like, oh, you have to address your inner child. And I'm like, what kind of weird crap is that? I don't even know what that means. But that day, I felt it. I felt like if I have to go back and see what Jennifer needed at that time to be told that she was loved and appreciated and not just the entertainer or the trophy child, and to be seen behind closed doors, not just publicly, um, then I guess I can be a girl mom. And it might be uncomfortable. It's going to be a lot uncomfortable because then you have to be vulnerable and try to make that safe space. But I show up differently now after that shift for my daughter, completely for my daughter. And I think about how I want her to feel on the inside, not just show up in the world, but how you make someone feel is what sticks with them,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So that was like the big gift of the shift for me, that even though the relationship with my mother and even my sister was less than ideal, are and a lot of lessons I'm still, learning from it. And I'm just open to the lessons. I'm not closed off. I don't, live in hatred, and I'm not sour about the way I grew up. Like, those were the cards that I was dealt, but it doesn't mean I need to play the same game. I can make up a whole new game with that deck of cards, and, just like with your marble in your can.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Well, it's, a lot of people would hold on to that, and
Uh,
it manifests in so many ways. So for you to let that go is just such a huge step in your healing journey because, as I said, people, they hold on to things for years and years and years, and it just calcifies. And
uh,
the fact that you're using it as learning is powerful.
yeah. Well, I mean, I'd have to say, the current self of me would have to thank that past self for at least being open, even in those moments, to seeing that there was a lesson instead of just closing down. Is there anything that this version of yourself would thank your past version for?
Wow. That's a heavy one. So I think I want to thank my past self for taking on the burden of protecting or trying to protect myself. So I know all of the things that what that was done, be it that they were going in the right direction or not, was in this self-preservation survival mode. And I didn't know that I could be out of survival, that I didn't need to survive. And I was in this false sense of I need to survive and I need to kind of claw my way through this world kind of thing. And I wasn't in that space, and I just need to thank her for everything that she did to hold me, to protect me from perceived, dangers that weren't there. But now that I'm in the light and I'm out of the cave, and I could see that some of the perceived fears are just opportunities, and they're steps to growth as opposed to daggers coming at me. So I have to thank her for all of her hard work in the fortress that she was trying to create to keep me safe. And now that the walls are down, I can really kind of spread my wings and fully participate in life now.
Safely.
Safely, yeah. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Well, shifties, we're going to leave you with some shift activation today. So if you want to write these down so you can get started on it right away, or you can just wait and download the episode toolkit at the end and then work through it later. But, we're going to ask you the same question to think about and to work through. What would the current version of you thank the past version of you for having the courage to walk through? So, what gift did your shift leave behind? Was it a boundary, a truth, or a part of yourself that you thought was gone? But it's something to think about, not just, I love that you're here and that you're hearing us chat about this, but we want you to do the shift work with us because we are here to build a community with you. Some people have a safe space right next to them, and that's awesome. And if you do, lean into it, but use these shift activations. But we want to be a part of your community. So sometimes the gift isn't about something shiny or, it's more really about peace and self-respect and truth and, all of that just finally landing with you. So you don't need to just get through it, right? You don't need to be in survival mode. You can grow through it. And really that's the gift of the shift is growing through it. So we are so excited that you're here. And Sandra, before we leave, there's this one little thing because it falls into the journaling category. Can you lead everybody into maybe writing a letter to my future self?
Yes,
Because
yes.
you are so good at finding those like things like speaking to your emotions and all that good stuff.
So, letter to future self. So, think about some of the shifts that could be on the horizon for you. So, career shifts, maybe you're in that space of, I want to make those changes, or something along the lines of your family or your partner. And write a letter to your future self, maybe actualizing some of those potential shifts. So, what would that look like? What lessons would you take away from that? What is on the other side of those types of shifts? Because sometimes as shifts may happen to us, but sometimes we can quietly navigate shifts and we can be the catalyst for those shifts. So write a letter to your future self and think about what are those potential shifts and some of the lessons and some of the wisdoms that will come out of that. And this is a letter that no one's going to read or you can share. So please be as honest and open and as vulnerable and raw as you need to be. And take a look at that and sit with that. Reflect on that. What are those things that are coming up for you that you're putting on that paper? Because it's going to show you more than keeping that all within. So I invite you to really just go to town with this letter to my future self prompt.
That's so true. And if you are the sharing kind of person and you want to share it, there is a spot on our website where you can share your shift and you can do it anonymously. Occasionally, we will share some of our shifties shifts here publicly, only if you mark that you want them to be shared on the podcast, and it can be done anonymously. That's totally fine. But it really helps other people through their shift as well. So, whether this talking shift has really sparked a new perspective for you or brought something old to the surface or just helped you feel more seen, we are very glad you're here. So take that moment to do your shift activation. Leave us a review if you enjoyed this episode. If you do anything on socials, hashtag Shift Sister Podcast. And remember to download your shift toolkit so that you could shift right along with us. So go sip something yummy. Take a deep breath and know that you always have us to talk shift with.
And that's it for today's shift. Thank you so much for sharing this space with us. If you're loving the conversation, become a shifty. Like, follow, subscribe, and most of all, share this episode with someone who's shifting too, or someone who seriously needs to get their shift together.
Do you have thoughts, questions, topic requests, or maybe you're feeling the nudge to collaborate? Visit us at shiftsisterpodcast.com. We'd love to hear from you. We're so grateful for your presence, your friendship, and your willingness to do the work with us. Because shift happens and we're not meant to do it alone.
We'll meet you back here next time to breathe, reflect, and talk shift.